Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Metaverse Diaries number 3. Now, in this episode, we're going to get into a big update that happened to Frame. Now, those of you that saw the first episode, you might remember me saying that I promised not to turn this series into just me promoting Frame and talking about Frame, which is the Metaverse project that I happen to be a team member of. But I think you're going to find this to be not really just about me telling you how good Frame is, more just providing a few updates, but then thinking out loud about how Frame fits into the metaverse and also being transparent about things we still need to do in Frame to make it a lot better. It's not really going to be like a commercial for Frame so much as me thinking about the product and where it still needs to go, to be honest, to get even better, as well as some cool new things about it. And then how I'm thinking about it relative to the metaverse. So if you don't want to hear me talk about Frame, that's fine. Just wait till episode 4, probably going to come out tomorrow. But if you want to stick around, then awesome. So just diving in. So one of the real cool updates is this map feature. So, in Frame, you can set all sorts of different environments for your kind of social 3D world. In fact, I'm going to actually go to one of the new ones from the update, which is called the Convention Center. So here I am. And, most of our environments are kind of like this. They're 3D worlds that you can navigate around with other people and you can set up as you want. But this map feature is a little bit different and it's experimental. And to even turn it on, you've got to go into your profile and there's a user preferences and experimental features button, and you can turn on a few experimental features. We're going to get into the other one in a second, but one of them is called map environments. And with that on, you can go into your Frame settings and there's a new button below the environment picker. It says use map environment, which I just clicked, and then a gorgeous map shows up beneath you with the terrain as a 3D mesh, and you can pick where you want to go. So I'll go to Goleta, California, which is where I live. So I'm often going to this map and you'll see it shows up really big and gorgeous. I'm going to remove some of these streaming screens just because they're cluttering the space a little bit. I'm going to remove this whiteboard. Okay. And once here, you can tweak the map a lot of different ways. I just went to street, kind of like a street map that looks a little bit different. And you can zoom in and really do all sorts of stuff. And of course you can share the link with anyone and they can be in here with you and you can walk across the map together as avatars with your laser pointer. This just kind of weaves into our mission of helping people do stuff together that would be a little bit tricky to do over traditional video conferencing tools. And yeah, it's awesome. So this was a moment where I'm just kind of shouting out how cool something is. Definitely encourage you to try it out with fly mode. So I'll go to like Mount Fuji, Japan. And I'll turn on fly mode and it lets you go up and down. It's just very cool. So I encourage you to check it out with a buddy. Okay, but I want to get into thinking a little bit about Frame and the metaverse and some of the changes we made in this update that are specifically relevant to this question of how Frame sort of fits in. And, well, it looks like we just ran into a bug. I'm not going to edit this video. This is why Maps is an experimental feature. This should have disappeared here, and it didn't. It actually looks quite cool in the middle here. But I'm just going to leave it here so we can, friendly reminder that this is an experimental feature. So when a lot of people use Frame, they make a lot of different frames and they link between them. And moving between them is, kind of like moving between different destinations, in the metaverse. But up till now, we haven't let you actually link out to other places in the metaverse. And for some people, this is what the metaverse is all about. It's different but interconnected spaces. So being able to move from something like Fortnite into something different entirely, and then to something different from there. Like the idea is it's not just one company. You're not just jumping between different spaces within one company's ecosystem. It's kind of like you're able to move between all of it. For some people, that's really what the metaverse is. And we haven't really opened that up in Frame yet in any way, but now in the go-to menu, which you can set up in your frames, you can actually link out to anything you want. And we used to limit this to linking out to other frames because we thought, let's just let our users link out to other frames. Let's not make it chaos and let them link out to other things entirely. But now, if you've got some other place in the metaverse built with some other service, like Mozilla Hubs or Spatial or really anything that has a link behind it, you can actually link out to it in the go-to menu. And this was a really deliberate decision on our part to make it so that if you want, Frame can really participate in the broader metaverse. So for example, I made a Mozilla Hubs and I put it in the in my go-to menu, my navigation menu in my frame. And I just put the Hubs link right there and I can go to click on the Hubs and boom, there I go. Right into the Hubs room in the same tab. It's okay that I've left Frame and here I am, which is pretty cool. But I'd like to go back to Frame. I love Mozilla Hubs, by the way. It's one of my key inspirations even for making Frame. But I'm going to go back into Frame. So you're probably picking up why I thought it made sense to actually talk about Frame in this channel is because we've been making some changes to it that specifically weave into conversations about the metaverse and how we want these different spaces to be able to play nicely with each other. We're starting to do some of that stuff. Another move in that direction, by the way, is we have a new login system. I'm going to make a separate video about this, so I'm not going to dive into it too much. But you'll see a new login button for a service called Metaverse-ey. And the Metaverse login, this actually lets you log in with it's an authentication layer that kind of transcends any particular metaverse service. And in the future, as more people adopt it, which hopefully they do, then it'll give you kind of an identity that you can take with you to different metaverse destinations, which is quite cool. Okay, I'm going to sign back in with my lame Google account, though, which is fine. Here we go. Okay, the whirlwind tour through the other updates, you can add text into the space. So I'm going to bring in a text label, say, hello, Metaverse Diaries. This is a really cool feature. Just for simple text labels, I'm going to say red text on an ugly lime green background. There it is. And of course, you can, just like any other asset, put it where you want. Let's say I'm having a whole convention center down the road. Got so many followers, got so many subscribers for the Metaverse Diaries that we're going to have a Metaverse Diaries convention. We're going to bring everyone together here in the convention center, and I'm just setting it up so that it looks really great and everyone knows they're in the right place. The really handy, I just awkwardly tilted that. Okay. Another really handy use case for these is making buttons. So you can put links on these buttons. Maybe you want it to link out to another frame or another place in the metaverse or another scene in your frame, or you can have it send you an email when someone clicks on it. A lot of different cool things you can do with text. Okay, now some other features. I'm just going to think out loud candidly about how great they are, but also some of their limitations. Our seat feature is really cool. It lets you create seats. And I'm going to make one called Chair 1. And you'll see it shows up like a cube. And then I can kind of put it where I want and scale it to kind of match the chair I'm putting it on. And you tilt it to have it sort of, the purple side of it lets you know where people are going to be facing once they sit there. And then I'm going to click on it. And this is going to take you to the chair. Go. Boom. So fair enough. That's great. And for those that are kind of real good at creating frames and real good at learning these tools, it's easy enough for you to set up. But for those that are kind of new to this stuff overall, this is a bit of a process to set up a chair. And we've got some work to do to make this easier. I think in the future, in these environments that have like these obvious chair objects, we'll just make these chairs for you, so that you don't even need to do any setup. But if you're bringing in your custom 3D models, then yeah, having that ability to really customize them and make new ones and put them exactly where you want and scale them where you want is really cool. But for your kind of general use case, I think it's still a little bit too hard to do to make this super usable. But now that we've laid this foundation of having the basic seat mechanism, it's going to be pretty easy for us to, from here, just make it easier and provide some ready-made seats in the environments that make sense. All right, now a super cool one is that you can share multiple streaming screens. Just gonna big shout out to Jason Shen, new teammate who did a lot of this work. So you can share as many different screens in your frame as you want. So maybe you're giving a talk and you want to share tons of different things. You totally can now, which is pretty cool. So you can share different Chrome tabs, different application windows, really whatever you'd like, and you'll be fine. Okay, it's been 10 minutes of me kind of rambling about Frame, which again is going to be a rare thing for the Metaverse Diaries. Just it was a little bit relevant given some of the Metaverse-ey things going on in this update. There are other things in this update that are really cool. Maybe I'll just take 20 seconds. So another experimental feature, we've got hand tracking now in the Oculus Quest or Quest 2. You can turn this on. You also have to have it turned on the Quest, and then in frame in VR, you can just use your hands to like wave to people and point things out. It's a little tough right now still to kind of like use the user interface with the hands. It's a very prototype kind of thing, but you can see the concept. We're big believers in hands as a kind of first-class interaction modality. So we're going to be building on this foundation to do even more. You can change your audio input source right from within Frame itself. Before, you could only do this before you came into the frame, and if you wanted to change it, you had to refresh. Now you can just right-click on the mic icon, change your audio input, just in case your browser has the wrong one selected. Gosh, I'm just looking at the blog post. There are a few more. I went over some of the big ones though. If you bring in tons of copies of 3D models, we render them more efficiently, especially if they're models without animations. So I just brought in this house, and it takes a little bit of time to load in, but then you see as I bring in every subsequent one, it'll load in a little bit faster, and these are like copies. They render more efficiently, so it's really rendering 5 of them and taking the compute power basically of just rendering 1 of them with a few exceptions. So don't go overboard with this. Bringing in hundreds is still going to affect performance. Sorry, there's a plane flying right by my place. But for those of you that have frames where you've got a lot of the same model, this will help with performance. Okay. For those that really want to see kind of like non-frame stuff, don't worry, I have you covered. I have a video that's going to come out tomorrow. It's going to be about a lot of non-frame cool stuff. But there you have it. Thanks for watching. And if you'd like to check out Frame, go for it. Open to any criticism, feedback. If you want to meet me inside of it, just hit me up. I'm always down for a Frame meeting. And hope you're having a nice weekend. Bye.